Well, how I want to tell them to do this year, the Queen Quet coming to honor for this year, yeah, Juneteenth, yeah. This year, yeah, we to celebrate right here in Savannah, in the Gullah Geechee Nation. At this year place called the Jepson Center, part of the Telfair Museum and things like that. Now, this year, yeah, you go and get it, plenty of the family coming together who be Gullah Geechee. Now, plenty of 100 children right now know, but Juneteenth ain't really part of we young Gullah Geechee Nation in Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and things like that. But it been part of the Gullah Geechee diaspora because plenty of we family would have did it in Texas. They don't know about this year. Them what did it in Oklahoma, they know about this year. But rather watch 100 children go and know where or about by the time 100 finish this your broadcast. So I'm so glad that 100 are tuning in with me, and you know who I be, Queen Quet, head on the body of the Gullah Geechee Nation, and 100 hostess for this year Gullah Geechee TV station. And 100 a day with me, 100 children know, 100 boy know that this year the work going on.
So we can't do anything without honoring our ancestors today. This is the 7th year of Juneteenth at the Jepson Center. And every year we rain them down. Yes. We start with calling all the ancestors. Calling all the ancestors. If I call mine, you call yours. Calling all the ancestors.
Gullah, Chima Geechee, Chima Yamo Gullah Geechee, Ile, Liberdade, Liberdade, Liberty, Boa Morte, Ile, Liberdade, Liberty, Boa Morte, Chima Gullah Geechee, the city of liberty. You know as Yamaka Bluff, but many know the day as Savannah. And on this day, you come to the place, the sacred soil, the land that go from River Street to South Broad, from West Broad to East Broad. And you now celebrate Boa Morte. And Boa Morte in language means good death. But it's not the death of the body, but the nickname for freedom. We pet name. And on this day, the ancestors say, respect and honor those that we in heaven. And they send we down here to come and let the church know a Liberdade, liberty.
Africans came from the Caribbean right here to Savannah. Right here to Savannah. Welcome to the Telfair's Juneteenth at the Jepson. This is our party, our day. We started our morning with music, with the kalimba, the ancient African instrument, with a workshop by T.J. Reddy and Tony Pizza from the Ships of the Sea. Where's Tony getting credit and blame? We thank the city of Savannah for all that they do for us each year, funding our Juneteenth program in its 7th year, so that you can keep coming back. We were at the Second African Baptist Church on Thursday night with a talk from noted historian Dr. Whittington Johnson, who wrote the book Black Savannah, and historians since have still been writing it page by page because it had that much information about us. Today, though, we're in for even more education on the Gullah Geechee side of our culture. I'm Bonnet Good Walker. Someone called me initiator. I don't know if that's like another word for instigator. For Juneteenth. Someone called me a coordinator and part-time libationist for Juneteenth. But it's my love for the African history. And the Telfair has provided this vision for us each year to keep telling this story. First year I did Juneteenth. Someone said, well, Juneteenth didn't happen in Savannah. Oh, but so much else did. The 40-acre speech at the Second African Baptist Church. If that wasn't freedom, nothing was. The Emancipation Proclamation in 1863 read to the members of the Second African Baptist Church. How many Baptists in this room tonight? How many Baptists? Oh, be shame. There goes one right there. She from South Carolina, so she got it. I know about them. Who else Baptists in here? You go to watch night? You don't know about watch night? All right, watch night. You just say, but tell you those watches are free. So you go and you get some freedom. When they say, watchmen in the East, could you please come in the time? It's time to be free. So 2015, 1865, 150 years ago, we all going to be free again. So y'all stick around for that. I can't go any further, again, without thanking the Telfair Director, Lisa Grove, for this great opportunity. The Senior Curator of Education, Harry Delore, who's with us this year, standing there. The man taking pictures and his staff. Glenna, Kip, who's doing the activities over in the studio. Please go by and check all of that out. I'm not going to be talking very much longer because we got a great program for you this afternoon. And while I would love to be the MC on the mic like I was last year, the year before, we have a guest with us who's going to weave our story together as we go. He's a cousin of mine because he's married to a cousin of mine. You know, we all related. Even our guests coming all the way from Brunswick say they was related to us too, Cousin Pat. That's all right. That's all right. We the Jadons. We're proud of them. We talk and we preachers and teachers. This is, though, my cousin Jim McCoat. He is the director, founder, curator, everything that is Geechee. And if you haven't heard of it, you will hear of it because it's a museum just south of us in Liberty County in a little town called Riceboro. Wonder what they did there. And Jim is going to introduce the rest of our program. We're going to hear some great kalimba playing from artist, painter, poet, performer T.J. Reddy. And y'all already met Queen Quet. I had to come on and let her rest up because she's coming back. She was bringing all that energy from the Gullah Nation, the Queen of the Gullah Nation. That's my friend. Because she brings family. And who else brings family is Brother Geechee. He got his son with him today. And he got his son with him. So they're going to bring up a generation of drummers. All right? And I see a lot of my other culture friends. I can't see because they took the lights out. You know these glasses just for people my age. So anybody else who out there from my culture fans, I love you and thank you for joining us for Juneteenth. And here's Jim McCoat.
I'm so glad I am. Yes, I'm glad to be here. Yes. I'm glad to be here. Yes. Let's sing a song. Well, I'm so glad I am. Well, I'm so glad I am. Well, I'm so glad I am. I'm Brother Jim. I'm from the Geechee Cultural Arts Center and Museum in Riceboro, Georgia. Actually, I'm the caretaker. It is your museum. I am so excited and honored for being invited here to be a part of this here great celebration. to continue my effort as a keeper of the culture and to join in with other people that are keepers of the culture. And that includes each and every one here, or you wouldn't be here if you didn't understand the importance of being a keeper of the culture. We are really extra blessed today to have in our midst one of the premier contemporary artists, one of the premier purveyors of ancient African rhythms and music, the master of the kalimba, a brother who's ever evolving and growing, and he is actually the living link through his music and his art to our African past and to our African future. And without putting it off another further, here's Brother TJ Reddy. Brother TJ.
Don't consult the alligator until after you cross the river. Don't consult the alligator until after you cross the river. And now, I want to have you give you a hand. Simple enough. It's 4-4. You all have been clapping already. When I do a proverb, you will do. Now, what's your name? So we'll start with the proverb. Because the proverbial is definitely the source, great source of our wisdom and a very few number of words. So here we go. Don't insult the alligator until after you cross the river. All right, so far we got it. Two birds fought over a kernel of corn. A third swooped down and carried it off. It is better to travel alone than with misguided company. She who cannot dance, he who cannot dance, will say the drum is bad. That's it. Now, you're loosening it up and giving yourself a hand. Confiding a secret to an unworthy friend is like carrying grain in a bag with a hole. Confiding a secret to an unworthy friend is like carrying grain in a bag with a hoe. Say hoe. I don't know. Not done yet. I got a few more of them. A little subtleness is sometimes better than a whole lot of force. Wait. Keep your hands. Most important one. It is better to travel alone than with misguided company. It's better to travel alone than with misguided company. African proverbs. Gems, wisdom, full, just much information included in those very short references to our way of knowing. A long way from my home. Whoa. I don't know how many of you may remember this from growing up to playing this. Anyone in this audience remember doing this, learning how to play this, please, here? Nobody. Really? Hambo. No one in this audience remember this? Well, I'll just go on to the Hambo. Out of the wall of a house, manuscripts. And this is how we made music as children, eating on garbage cans and boxes and pot tops and glasses and all kinds of, other instruments that we were able to employ. Touring for the drum. The drum. The drum is the heartbeat of Mother Africa, as she shapes life and gives birth to the world. The sun sings the tempo up and down in the kingdoms of Ghana, so high and Mali. When the drum calls the council of elders and the community together. The drum beat counted the stars as hearts rested after a hard day of heavy work and weary work. The drum made the rhythm of our love. That is why our children are so beautiful. The drum beat sounded the warning. Oppressors are coming. Oppressors are coming. And when the slaves discovered how much we communicated with music they could not understand, they took our drums but not our rhythms. Our songs grew up in dungeons and in hot cotton fields. And when we have no drums, we got some hammer and beat on hollow tree trunks in the woods and a dance. The devil man buried our bones and we stacked our thighs and told them that ham gonna have you. Papa gonna buy you a mockingbird. If that mockingbird don't sing, Papa gonna buy you a diamond ring. If that diamond ring gets broke, Papa gonna buy you a billy goat. If that billy goat won't pull, Papa gonna buy you a carton. If that carton will fall over, Papa gonna buy you a dog named Rover. If that dog named Rover don't bark, Papa gonna buy you a horse and cart. If that horse and cart don't pull down, still the sweetest baby here in this town. Still the sweetest baby here in this town. Now Max Roach, Black Ola, Geechee, and Elvin Jones all know the rhythms that we brought with us from Africa. They know how to release the sound of a cell door slamming shut. They know the tremble, the cymbal sound, the needles of dope are mainline to our minds. Our drummers know the sound of death beating at our brow from South Africa to South Carolina. Our drummers know that history is our heartbeat, liberation is its tune. It's tempo singing, now for freedom, not too soon. 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 us. So I'm so grateful that we were able to be here. Now, about rap. Rap is a language we've always known, but didn't really know that we do it. I'll first be a preacher for you and show you the origin of rap. We is gathered here, my people. Yes, in this howling wilderness. And we bring some words of comfort for each other in distress. And we choose this for our subject. And this will explain it by and by. And the Lord said, Moses, Moses. And the man said, yes, Lord. Yeah. Now, old Pharaoh down in Egypt was the worst man ever born. And he had the Hebrew children down there working in the Egypt. It was written over 110 years ago. We has got to get our people in this hallelujah. But this is the words of comfort for each other in distress. And we choose this for our subject. This was explained by and by. And the Lord said, Moses, Moses, and the man said, yeah. Now Pharaoh down in Egypt was the worst man ever born. And he had the Hebrew children down there working in his home. It's a rap poem written by Paul Lawrence, done by 110 years ago. I mean, and here we are. Another one. Hambo, talking about your mom. It's a rap poem. It's a rap poem. Now, how do I send you? How do I send you? It's a rap poem. I'm going to send you one by one. Another African proverb. To stumble is not to fall, but to need further practice. You got me. How do I send it? I'm sending it one by one. One for the little baby who was born in Africa. How do I send it? I'm gonna send it two by two. Two for Malcolm Martin. One for the little bitty baby who was born in Africa. How do I send it? I'm gonna send it 3 by 3. You're gonna think good get free. From Malcolm Martin, one for the little bitty baby who was born in Africa. I'm gonna send it for my folks still at the door. 5 for the 5 still alive. 6 for the 6 couldn't get fixed. 7 for the 7 we made to heaven. 8 for the 8 still at the 8. 9 for the 9 drove it back. 10 for the 10 we made it on in. 10 for the 10 we made it on in. 10 for the 10 we made it on in. Let me see you are. is slaughtered and sold. What has happened to the African? Gone is home range. Gone is home range. What has happened to their culture? Almost picked clean by the vulture. What has happened to the Indian? Gone is home plain. Gone is home the rain. What has happened to the language? Almost vanished. What has happened to the Indian? God is home the plain. God is home the plain. What has happened to the African? What has happened to the Afro-American? What has happened to the land? Gone home the plain. Gone home the plain. Gone home the plain.
It was a wonderful message from the ancestors. Whether we realize it or not, that is what we just received. A wonderful message and blessing from the ancestors. Reminder of our history, our important history. And not history just for the sake of saying that we know something, but using history as a tool and learning from it. And like as we celebrate Juneteenth, let's also use it as a commemoration of remembering what was really about and who we dealt with. It's also a reminder that the system that we were held under for so long and so brutally, it was not given up voluntarily. Okay? So we have remnants. So use the history, think about it, be aware of it, and realize the importance of not only learning but perpetuating this important history of ours. And there's not a living entity that is more aware and more important and more dedicated to researching, teaching, and perpetuating this wonderful cultural history of ours than the African spirits of Day Queen. Let's hear this.
In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, we give thanks and praises to God Almighty, Lord of all the worlds, Master of the day of judgment. Thee do we worship and thy aid we to seek. Show we the straight way, the way of those who want to go astray. Amen. Remember those Africans that prayed leave on in the wilderness. Amen. Remember those Africans that prayed flat down in the wilderness. Amen. Al-Amadal Paru, Haiti, Jamaica, Curacao, Martinique, Brazil, Honduras, Belize, Guatemala, Venezuela, Ecuador, and Guatemala. Remember those African souls. Oh, the soul is so happy to be here with you, the African charm, on this day. No! You're not happy? What's going on here so bad now? That many of you see the hot potato before, but you all sitting up there, and you see the child holding it, and you all say nothing. Shame for God. And then what's going on here? The other times when the Spirit has come, people have sat down here. Why are you all so far back? Are you afraid of your culture and your history? Sit there as if you know nothing. Because if you are one, when you have heard the rhythm of the Jimbe, the Don Dog, when you have heard the one called TJ going and throwing out to you, and the one But instead you say so distant. That's why you don't know who you be. And that's why God Almighty, we are sitting there by the river Nile. Oh my Lord. See, some don't even know. The river Nile flows through heaven. And there we are sitting in heaven. And God Almighty, we are those who also sit by the river heaven, the river Nile, but we also sit by the crossroads. And God said to me, a spring, spirit, go down there, let the Torah know who they be. And we say, Yahweh, we go down there, let the Torah know who they be. And as we're there in heaven, many others, angels come by and they say, let them know of me. Talk of Anna, talk of you, talk of me. And so, when we come down the Burj Al-Amasi, the Tower of Diamonds, we pass by the mountains of the moon, Mount Mansouri, Mount Morset, and Mount Kilimanjaro. And if we come down, we can touch upon the Holy Land. And many of you, when you hear Holy Land, you think of Iraq, Jordan, Syria, Israel. But never do you think of Ethiopia. Neither do you think of Tanzania, Kenya, Somalia, Sudan, Egypt, Eritrea, Djibouti, Africa. And so that's why we want to look and we say, we come here looking for the Ukuchuku, the children of God. And but when we look, we see people scattered, not connected to me. That some come here for celebration. And we go and look, and we see the Gullah, we see the Geechee, we see ancient people. And there's some who call Geechee, we see them in a place called East Africa. And we see them in the land of the EPT. Y'all turn to the EPT for me? Early pregnancy test. You know not your story. If you know the EPT, you know that the first known woman doctor in the world is an African woman. The first known man doctor is out of Africa. And the EPT, the early pregnancy test, is in Africa in ancient times. We have God in their minds, in their hearts, and in their souls. We have the light of God in their minds, in their hearts, and in their souls. So we go and see the Geechee people there in the land of the EPT, the land of Saku, the psychology, the mathematics. We see them with the term, that is the sacred writings. We see them travel across the land. Then we go and look and see ancient people that some of you go and talk about Ghana. Not you know that in ancient Ghana, that there be a people called the Gullah, who are right there in ancient Ghana. So when Geechee people talk about the ancient ties, oh Lord. See, I know some of you, when you hear Geechee, you think that's time to tell Geechee River. There's nothing to do with that. That it comes from a corruption of the word Geechee. And the Geechee people travel from Eastern Africa, and they come to what we know as Western Africa. We see the Geechee people, and when those people are brought here, some call them Geechee, but later on it gets converted to Geechee. And then we see the Gullah people there in ancient Africa, ancient Ghana, who are administrators. And we see them all in Western Africa. And we see that many of them, and the Sarah, the Mandinka, the Malinke, the Mende, the Bai, the Araway, the Tukalar, the Ture, we see them brought here for the knowledge of the Trinity. That they have the Trinity. Y'all turn up the Trinity for me? What would be the Trinity? What? The children are going to get every tea. What is the Trinity? That's not the Trinity. It is cotton, rice, and indigo. In Africa, when people be there, and we grow cotton, and we live into cloths. And in Africa, you get indigo, which is a green or brown plant, then we make a blue dye that's also used for coloring other things. And then we have the Asian rice and the African rice in Africa. The Spanish said on the ancestors, they said, El India Garcia Azúcar. They say the Africans have the genius of sugar. And we also have iron, because, oh Lord, in Namatunda and other places in Western Africa, Eastern Africa, we are doing, looking at the stars, but we're also making iron. And we are brought here because we have the iron skill. Oh Lord. And there's some here, one spirit going to tell you about the place called River Street, South Broad Street, West Broad and East Broad. South Broad, that they call Overthorpe Avenue. West Broad, they call MLK Junior Boulevard. And that when you stand in this area of Savannah, you're standing on and looking at the handiwork of Africans. 20 Africans are brought out of Charleston and 4 brought out of Beaufort to help build the streets and the squares in Savannah. Oh, Lord. But many of them going, and I know you heard say that Overthorpe say, no Romans allowed in Georgia, no lawyers, no papers, and no Africans. That would be a lie. Africans are from the beginning of time here, what you know as Georgia. In fact, Savannah, the city we call today Savannah, had always had a majority of black population here. See, again, you know not your story. And again, when you stand on the streets and the squares here, you're standing on African handiwork. And what does that tell you? That Africans had engineering skills in their minds, in their hearts, and in their souls. And that they had mathematics skills in their minds, their hearts, and their souls. But some you touch the soil and not even make the connection. But back to Africans there. They are building structures in Africa. You go and see, what you call the Great Pyramid. And some going to try to say some Martians make that. Let me understand that Africans not giving the proper credit. And that we also go and see them in the University of Saint-Clair. We go and see the Master of Saint-Clair. We see the structures made in Africa. So Africans are brought here on the barrow, and barrow means boat in Gullah. They are brought across the water because they have the knowledge of the Trinity in their minds, their hearts, and their souls. They're all Lord. They even know about tea. Because guess what? Some of you look at Charleston and say the first production of tea in the U.S. is in Charleston. No, it's over there on Skidway Island. Africans play a role in that. But some don't give the credit to the Africans. That's why God Almighty said, church, spirit, go down and let the children know who they for be. And so we didn't even go and look. There's some of you look down the coastal areas of Georgia. And you go and know a place called Eagles Landing. And some talk with pride about Eagles Landing. And they go pour libation in the waters of Eagles Landing. But some don't go and tell you, before those Eagles go up to Eagle Landing down there, on the creek there, Dunbar Creek there in Glenn County, that some of them are by a place you call Skidway Island. And what you know right here is Chapel County. And those Africans, some were brought from Africa, and then there's a boat, the Moravia in New York. They now begin to divide up the Eagles. Some of the Eagles are taken down into Dunbar Creek, but the others are brought right up here to a place called River Street in Savannah, Georgia, in Chapel County. Some don't even know the Eagle Landing story begins right here in the U.S. and then go down to the creek there in Dunbar County. We see those Africans, and those Africans will say, Ori, Ori, Mary, abandon the yeah. Ori, Ori, Mary, abandon the yeah. Once the Spirit take me here, once the Spirit take me back. And then we hear some of you going and talk about old freedom. Not knowing that old freedom is tied to those Africans who are part of the Dunbar Creek when they go march it back into the water and say, the water spirit bring me here, the water spirit take me back. And then we go and look to those who want to have a celebration. They talk about a great celebration in June of freedom. And what day is that? What you say? We can't hear you. You act like you're so shy. What is the day? You talking about in June of freedom? Not June 19th. Oh my God. We ain't even going to Geechee land. We're not over there in Texas. That's in Texas. Oh my God. The church know that. On June 1st and June 2nd, there'll be the celebration that we come down here for. That's why Mom said, let the church know of you and me. Because that African woman, she be right there in heaven, and she sit there, and she said, many have forgotten what happened in June. And there we go and look and see Africans in a place called Colleton County, that you call Walterboro and all that. We see the Cohombi River. And the Cohombi River, we're going to see an African woman who lead a military expedition. Oh, Lord. The only woman to lead a military expedition during the Civil War is a woman by the name of Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman, living out of Beaufort County, go to Walterboro County, go to Colleton County. And she will lead a military expedition that occurred in the first week of June. And there, when they get there, Harriet Tubman did not go and get arms and cause the Confederates to flee. And so when the Confederates flee, and the plantation owners and others who hold Africans in captivity, you have hundreds of Africans there. And the Africans going to sing, when they hear the gunboats, when they hear the movement, they're going to say, Jubilee, Jubilee, Jubilee. And Harriet Tubman say, we go there, we see about 80 Africans first come to the boats. Then next thing we know, we see hundreds of Africans come. We see one woman even come with a pig carrying it, say, I hear you all here, and we come by freedom. Harriet Tubman will lead in the first week of June, the only military expedition led by Africa, led by a woman and all. And that is in the first week of June. And those Africans celebrate their freedom, not June 19th. Again, I know this story. And then we look to another place where they say the streets look like loaves of bread. And they said that when they see some people coming, they have the windows and the shutters shut to their house. And they are looking because they are afraid. Because they go and see the loaves, the streets, all the loaves of bread on the streets. And they just see the Blue Jackets come. Y'all know about Blue Jackets? We're not talking about Savannah High School. They see the Blue Jackets come, and they see the Blue Jackets march. And they do a parade march through Savannah. And that is in 1864. And what happened? That's when they see, oh no, they're just marching. They're just doing a parade march. The next thing you know, they say they're not opening the doors, and they run out to the streets. They look like loaves of bread, and they begin shouting and dancing. And they begin to buckle them. Oh Lord. See, y'all don't know a buckle for me. Buckle in Dutch means European or Caucasian. It means the buckles will be shut up inside there. Why? This is during the Civil War. Who are the Blue Jackets? The Union forces. That's when those Africans who now go and see the buckle of dancing for joy, they say they do not understand they will have their freedom. Oh Lord. We know that you know what you say in American history and Southern history, that when Sherman come through here, he burned up the place. When he got to Savannah, the bucklers and the African dancing joy on Broad Street. Oh Lord, they don't tell you that story. But that's why the Spirit come here and let you know that when they come here, it is a great celebration. And then we're going to look and see those who celebrate, but then we're going to see the African woman who be a spy for the Union during the Civil War and help free Africans. Y'all know who that would be? Not Harriet Tubman. Not Susie King Taylor. We're going to look to a place called First African Baptist Church. Right there, First African Baptist Church is a woman by the name of Mrs. March Haynes. Her husband is a river pilot. She and her husband will operate a spy network for the Union during the Civil War. But, some don't know that. And guess what? When they operate the spy network, they are operating out of a place called Fort Pulaski. They operate from a place called Hilton Head. Because those areas have been taken over by the war, by the Blue Jackets. And so they will come back into the city of Savannah, and they will now go and report on the movement of the Confederates here. And it is tied to a place called First African Baptist Church. But Susie King Taylor will do something else. Oh, Lord. See, many of them know about Clara Barton, but they don't know about Susie King Taylor. That is the only black woman to write about her experience during the Civil War. And Susie King Taylor, grandmother used to say, we had freedom meetings in Savannah before the Union came here. That's why the Africans knew the Union was coming. But it was the bucklers who were afraid. They did not know what was going to happen. And so again, Susie King Taylor, that great woman out of St. Catherine Island in Liberty County, she going to tell the story. And then we look, and we see the Africans who lead Africans to freedom. Oh, because I know I asked y'all this question. Y'all think it'd be some Harriet Tubman. But no, it'd be a 19-year-old African by the name of Kane, who lead Africans out of Liberty County and McIntosh County to freedom along the coast of Georgia. And then famous in Savannah, right about two African men called Nat and Harvey, who be freedom fighters here during the Civil War. We talk about Juneteenth. We talk about in May, that's when Africans here in Georgia celebrate freedom. Because it's right here that General Hunter will go and say, all Africans in the coastal areas here should have their freedom. That's long before some Abraham Lincoln Emancipation Proclamation that he doing in the May time period. Lincoln will do it later on in September. He's going to say it's on January 1st. And so Africans here knew about freedom long ago. Oh, Lord. They say it's time for the Spirit to go. But the Spirit has so much more to say. But if the great queen will come inside here, the go to Geechee people and they down. And the queen mother. And then we have the queen of liberty, the queen of freedom. One who called Sister Sister Pat, Queen Pat, Brother Jim, Brother Jim. There you go and you feel Africa in your minds, your hearts and souls. It's time for the soul to go. But we leave you with this. In Kose Sekulele Africa, why banning only Ifrika, Yamakar, Louisville, or Geechee? As God bless Africa, and God bless the children of Mother Africa, and God bless the areas of Yamakar, or Geechee, and Louisville. Because during the time of the Civil War, you have an African community that's called Yamakar. And this is tied to 40 acres of the mule. Another place called Louisville. Another place called Geechee. And then again, the Africans will now go and say, this is their land, this is their soul, this is what they find me.
get it for us. But you know how that man put him in yellow, called him Sharon. Come in one time, put on this anointing, and tell all that children that walk with them and have to get off you. Because all of that children be said, just all the way from this. All the way into the extension. So this shall take a bite off the twins' wheels. But you know what? Some of the children ain't never died off nothing taller than you. Before that, some of them did right there to the auction. And I feel like what they did in the auction before, like this. This your time. Oh, man, standing truly on him. Boy, man, see him laying miles of them talk than a deal. Tell me don't be you. Boy, I see him this so we can hide that wood. Drive partners. Glad I came on. I remember when them brothers come together, say, what would I do, y'all? How would I do this? Oh, my God, we gotta do it live. We're on a husband. I said, God said, husband, he get you, but I done had a house there. I can live on doors till a husband come. That's it. But you have to live on doors where I want it. How you get that? How I get this, your God give me. I get it when they say, that man coming in that blue uniform. They will have auction. And plus we would say, I ain't auction, we get this in for me. No more that. This time in auction, I'm all the things what for them before they had. All the shoes, all the silver, all the house, everything. I said in a store. I go on there. I still run. What for truth? I see none of people going in there no cheap. I see them there. And lions. And man, I talk like this, and I talk like this, and then children go on the shine there. Give them a paper. I said, somebody better come true. I said, see them, there was no side, I know how to read. I don't know some people that have the paper and they were there, and all of a sudden they talked up. So they come in and watch. I said, I see that. I look on the mirror, and for true, they're going to kneel on that. Then when I go on back, I dig up in that room. I had that jar in there. I had all the shot. I go on back, and then with auction. When they get to that piece, they say, over there, by the quick show. Boom, by this your side. The Creole's house today. Boom, by this your side. The cotton field. I go that the idea. I threw up there. And he said, so, I said, take it. Give me that pill. And he said, I'm not going to mark it. And talk like a true this young. Take me time. I watched it walk around and look see. Who are they wanted? Then they didn't come on them. Then they brought. I said, take me. And they said, why not? And why not that? Three came today. Caught me there, but up. Why they shouting? Bullshit. I'm walking. I clean out all this shit. And I tell them, brother, take that tree. Let them down. I want the house, right? That one asked me why I go do it. I said, oh, why do I go do it? You why do I go do it? My mama never gonna take no dry on salt. They're gonna hard work. Evil, my thinker, my linky, but they ain't blood. Every no slave. They yelling at what they must know a been. They never had that one back. I give you love. Love me over there. Come on, Africa. Africa. How can you lie? We mother. We could have yelled me mother. Every time I go into that question. Yes. I'm calling. Always That's right. That's right. What do you need him for? We need we ancestors that ain't working anything. Because why? Because if we know how to broke down that tree and things like that, we know how to make the axe, we know how to make it saw and things like that. Because if they care from how to do all of this. Blacksmith. Ain't got no cracky lazy people dragging and stuff on the ground. Go where? Where you need them for? Where they need healing, and we find Big Daddy Mama them and take who put a grind out in the bush and know just what forget and say, that's that shot. But they had to borrow or put them on yourself. Take a bag and never will put top and take it out. And when they make one sad brown dog, you get up like that. Healing. It didn't hide, didn't saw it. Why? But they're trying to kill it. And not me. Stay free. You can stand on it. Tell me walk in. But then I'm saying, why we can still be there when the war be done in? Because we be done on the land. We better have you kill us in 1862. 1862. Even the wait for that man William Lincoln. We're praying for. We were done had we lied. But the people done come back, they want to lie together, they want to feel and thing, they give things for that one. Then we started school once together. School we call them school. But had the other rest of school together too. Broadmoor School, had the town school, had all them things where they wanted to call them whatever what they use. Nickel school up. One row. Now, all these children are water on the 10 room, 15 room. What you need them for? You ain't do nothing all that room. You need to do plenty more with them in a one room. One room schoolhouse, one prayers house, one room. All the family together. Say, how I been trying to put the house on? One room. All them children would come in there and eat. And they would have acted like what with mom and daddy or children, but learn how to plant seed and things like that. Or come in there and I learn how to put his name down on the paper. Because you know we can't keep nothing. You know everybody be going around and say, how come she paper kind of long thing from the bottom and all the rest of it you want to look like this shit? Now when they say, because we can write, you know, we can read. Well, I can't know how to do that. Yeah, they say we can't do that. I said, who that? Can't they go? I said, you can't do it. You can't do it. I'm born on to get right up. Right in that bush. We got it in even time. We even just a shout. We need to learn how to hold yourself. How to learn your children how to read. How to treat one another. And things like that. Catch your sanction. Now we tell we fool. Some people they get this in no time. We done pray for that. And some had to pray on right on in the legal head. All that foolishness. And now we pray again, right to the water. And now it's your time come. They see emancipation, proclamation. Why read? Tell me, said that man Lincoln send one long papers again. But give freedom. He ain't killing it every morning. But sure give him to be again. Right up on the same line. See us. Yeah. So we tell him, take this up. We see we be right to the emancipation of the port brother shout again. You know we like a party in it. Oh. You say, great party, give me reason. With all that the young children, we did it. Elder, we did it. All in September had one. All in Jasper had one. All because you're going to get it and shout. Because everybody knows we can't take them back down. Ain't going to take them back down. But you know after that time, now when you know My mama and I said, we read up a little bit. You know, so we go on and start to get up early and think about himself. You know, some of we want to show off that we ain't high cotton now. We done step, we put shoe and thing, we done bought no boot and thing no more. All kind of things been going on. People been a bit up on not a bit horse. Because if you been in, I have you got it. If you been a farm, I ain't a farm, see I think on the farm. Okay. That way, I got something, the sweet peas, when I got the tomatoes. This one y'all got the cubes. That one y'all got the watermelon. All of that thing come together and bread. God, what's up with it? So what are we gonna do? You say, boy, this young man, go there, let me go. This young one got that, let me get this young. He was so greedy after that time. But us, we been up there, not one another. Them look like some come to tear down one another. Because the buck with them tell them to do so. And they get it. That was that sad spirit who would crawl on the ground behind him. And that would drive me right back to that time. Some of you said, and that time for you know. So now yet it was his family. When we go out all of their tuna, he started recording them 7 off. They're chilling in Oklahoma. We didn't care. So they ain't get it. But no, April. They ain't get it but no January, plus no 1863. They ain't get it. This thing till Greg God, June of 1865. That one was slow morning. That been my slow morning. I could have robbed in the creek and get that bus in the bag. So that time we said, we did something, the church just yet with that. I said, the church just yet with the thing that we've been down with 2 years. I said, yes, man. But I said, you know what? Now that they don't get it, so they claim him. Lord, not wagging the thing, and they claim him. I remember that day. I didn't want to hope. I look up for the big Lord. I see somebody coming in. Had on them blues. I had this young big old hat on the head. And he had all these things on the arm. And then I let the horse like this. And I said, oh, great God. That's my first cousin. Oh, God, look at God over you. Oh, God, it's so dark. They're trying to make a man to you. What land? He come on me. He said, cuz, great God. I'm so glad for you. I said, I'm glad it was here. But rather was, we glad for you. Steady. I tell them, wine over there. Clear off that party land. Put you in there. White stuff over there. Meantime, I got plenty of room. And there's one room right here. We saw up a nice good thing. Nail them up to that top. Split them off in 2. And I did from one side, they've been on this side. Had 16 turns, so I ain't know what they've been doing this side. Okay. They come there with 2. Okay. So, okay. But I've been on that side, they've been there. All of them been together. Long live the children. Out. They come family compound, and their children got house over there. One over there, one over there, one over there. And I still lunch. My children, lunch. My children come up to a play. They ain't bust nose. My spirit is there. Yeah. They ain't bust nose. Standing in the yellow people are going to keep like him. Then I get it, it's just sound. So when they get in, they look all around. So time I do this, they look all around. I said, they get it. I now stand. They get it. Because they didn't use these shop. When they start to use this shop, I understand everything. So plenty of time to until now, yeah, now stand like this, y'all. Because so much of that I'm telling you, they started talking like this. And they started believing that somehow this was their language. They started believing that somehow the land that our blood, our sweat, and our tears was in wasn't their land. That somebody else could come and set a law that they needed to live by. And we wondered, where did the blood that ran from us to them cut off? Because when they told us what we couldn't do, we fought. We were the spirit of Cain was 1739. During the Stoner Rebellion, we were the spirit of Gullah Jack in Denmark, BC in 1822. We were the spirit that shouted when they started up with them general orders and them special field orders and all that. We were the spirit that blue was really what was dyeing them uniforms with. That indigo that we brought in from Al Kebula. Them clothes couldn't be worn if they didn't have that Siam cotton. That cousin of Kemetic cotton. You know, I know they taught you to say Egypt now. But that richness was what we were wrapped in. That they wanted to unwrap us from by calling us slaves instead of calling us Igbo, Mandinka, Malinke, Yoruba, Gola, Geechee, Mendi, Tendi, Fiki, Ibibio, Geechee. And when they called you Seminole, they didn't realize they were saying you were unconquerable. But as long as you knew, it didn't matter what they thought. So that's why when I see my children's children playing on that land and playing in that sand, and I worked so hard to save every penny when Maz of them didn't want to put their hand in no dirty chicken coop, but they wanted the chicken eggs. You know, they give you a little shiny thing for it, and that's what I put in that jar. I had to bury you, got me. So that's why I didn't have to wait on the husband to bring nothing. When the husband showed up, he had to match what I already had. That's why we got that bigger house back there, y'all. So you see, today, people still come looking for Gullahs and Geechee. Some think they're a legend. Some say, stay off them islands, away from them. Some say, I think I might maybe heard of Geechee. I never heard of Gullah. Or I heard of Gullah, I never heard of Geechee. Well, Gullah people blessed by God. And I often tell folks, if you don't want your blessing, you can sure pass it to me, because I'll take every blessing I can get. And our ancestors knew that. That's why they never accepted the term slave for themselves. They called each other by their names. That's why Gullah Geechees have 2 or 3 names. They named their children what their traits were and who they were going to be, because that's how honest they were. They let Maz of them think they gave him some name named Robert or something like that. And meanwhile, a boy named Quadro at their house. And then down in the bush yard, what we call a boogie boy. Y'all know how we do. Yeah, we know who we be. And so, as our spirit and our energy went back into our children, and they started to realize it wasn't nothing wrong with growing cotton, because half the world would be naked without it. But they also realized cotton ain't always soft. The outside is hard, and it can cut you. So what they had to do was learn to be like that cotton, and be like that outside, and protect that soft inside, and keep their culture to themselves. Because others only wanted it to open a little bit for them to pick it apart and change it into something else that they could adorn themselves with and say it was theirs, when all the time God blessed us with it. So they told you throw it away, and as soon as you threw it away, they picked it up and left. Same way they did with the land. Told you, it's of no value. You don't want this mosquito-ridden land. It ain't going to do you no good. And I said, well, sir, you know, I'm quite comfortable here on this mosquito-ridden land, because actually actually where my ancestors come from. Mosquitoes was all over the place, so I ain't mad at no mosquitoes. But you know what? I don't like buzzing. I don't like no strangers buzzing around here on my property too frequently. I got to go and clean my gun right now. So, you know, people wonder, how come she kept hers and all around her? People lost theirs. Well, I ain't let too many people buzz around mine too long. Because I knew that the blood, the sweat, the tears, the placenta, the prayers, the shouts, the seeking that my ancestors had done was right there in that land. Where they walked on it barefoot. They shouted when them shoes that master them passed down didn't fit their feet no more. But when they also taught us how to make our own shoes at that same Penn school. Shoe lasting. So I wonder why these children think you need to be bare when you can make something for yourself. And today folks still come looking for us and they think we all got to be on that porch. Wait. That we all got to be there with the basket on our head or the pot of grits stirring. I ain't see a person stir a pot of grits on their porch yet in all my days. They think if they don't find us there, that Gullah Geechees are gone. They think it's like in that movie when Sarge said that the dead of Geechee was gone and dead. Many of us took that into our heads and we let the culture die before our faces while others sat back and shouted life back into it and said, ain't no way that God gave us the name Gullah, saying we are people blessed by God and that we would let anybody else's ignorance kill us. We be Gullah Geechee, anointed people. Black gold. But also because the water to bring me, the water might take me back. That green is for the land, and that gold is for the Carolina gold, the black gold, and it's for the sun and the brighter day. That's why right now we can shout for emancipation. We can shout for Juneteenth. We can shout for any freedom day that comes. Because why? We still on the land. From Jacksonville, North Carolina to Jacksonville, Florida, is the Gullah Geechee Nation, where our culture lives on, where our ancestors shouted, and where we still pray, and we still sing songs of freedom this year, Jubilee Day. So, honey, children, come on with me and sing one more time. I'm going up to the top a little while. I'm going to sit up there with some books and CD and things. But let me see if you can help me get back up to the top, you know? We got to still build one another up. Y'all think y'all can help me? Oh, freedom.
So glad I'm here. Yes, I'm so glad I'm here. We're just so glad I'm here. In Jesus' name. Oh, yeah. I'm so glad I'm here. Yes, I'm so glad I'm here. We're just so glad I'm here. It was joy brought me here. Joy brought me here. Yes, sir. Joy brought me here. Oh, yeah. messed up.